Hey guys, Richard at Riding Zoom here, outside in the cool garden. Sun's gone down a bit, so it's a bit dark, but bright enough. I've not got my usual basket as my phone stand in place, so I'm just doing it by hand. So yeah, thought I'd do a short review. This is the last Star Wars book I read. I read it about a week ago, but I've actually just started the next one, Heir to the Jedi. Basically started reading that next because that was written for the EU, but became part of the Disney canon. Whereas the next one I've got is Brotherhood. Not Brotherhood, that's the one I'm thinking of reading eventually. Bloodline, the one about Leia. So, yeah, and which was written 100% for Disney canon, never for the EU first. So it made sense to sort of read them in that order. So yeah, on to Jedi Trial. I finally give it a go. It's absolutely perfect condition. I'm actually selling this on eBay, so if you're interested, let me know. And yeah, this is set. It came out in 2004. Paperback was only 5 apparently. Set during the Clone Wars, about 2 years in, which in this timeline is of course where Anakin is knighted. So I'm not sure why he's got his episode 3 look there, and wearing his episode 2 clothes. He should be looking more like as a Padawan, have his episode 2 look. Perhaps I guess they obviously did this to promote the new film, much like having a Sarge Ventress on the cover, which, as I argued in the Cestus Deception book review, she should be on the cover for that one, because she did a lot in there. Was Count Dooku didn't do a thing, but was on the cover, so at least we get her here. And it is her. I know she doesn't have those markings in the 2D series or the 3D one, but apparently that's her comic look. I looked that up. So, yeah. So spoilers for the whole EU, the multimedia project, as they called it, for Clone Wars, and of course bits of Disney canon, well, pre-Disney, but the 3D era Clone Wars. Yes, so in the early parts of Series 2 of Clone Wars, Anakin gets knighted, based on his accomplishments such as surviving the Sarge Ventress fight, surviving Count Dooku fight, what he's done in the war so far. And yeah, he gets made much like Obi-Wan, who, killing Darth Maul was his Jedi trial. Anakin doesn't need one because the war has been enough of one, but he does eventually have a sort of spirit quest later on. And my main concern was, because obviously I love the Clone Wars series, is this going to retcon that in any way? Because even Labyrinth of Evil, superb book, does sort of retcon the Battle of Coruscant, not massively, but having Mace Windu duel General Grievous and Kit Fisto duel his guards, that never happened. It was Shakti and a couple of other Jedi that did all of that. Mace Windu just put the Force crush onto Grievous's organs at the end, but it didn't really matter too much, I felt. But I was really worried they would mess up this, and they don't. Spoiler alert for the end. This basically ends with the Jedi saying it's time, Anakin going to have his trial, which to me doesn't really clash with the Clone Wars show at all, because Obi-Wan's, even in there, Obi-Wan has been pushing this for a while. Anakin's got plenty of accomplishments, and it just feels like this is just the latest good thing Anakin has done, which leads to it. So yeah, if you're mostly concerned about, I don't want this to make on the Clone Wars show, it doesn't. I admit, Clone Wars, but the whole multimedia project were very good for that. Unlike Disney's, well, I keep saying Disney's, it was never Disney's, I just kind of associate it as Disney canon. Unlike the other Clone Wars show, because that was all about it, like Anakin's made a knight in 6 months, like, makes no sense. Anakin is given an apprentice, like, weeks later, also made no sense. Especially the fact there's no mention of him having an apprentice in any of these books, even such as Dislike Feather Jedi, they honoured that, which is great. Anakin weren't mature enough to have an apprentice, and yeah, no matter what you say, the Clone Wars, they call it, compared to Clone Wars, they don't fit together in any way. You can't even claim all this stuff happens in 6 months and then you get the show later. No, it's its own thing. Even a timeline book I bought says the exact same thing. So main thing is, this doesn't clash with Clone Wars TV show, like the original one, in any way, so it's worth a read. So let's get to the actual base meat of the book. So Anakin is given a mission while Obi-Wan is off on another planet doing his thing. Anakin is in charge, and it's just good because Cestus Deception was kind of Obi-Wan's book, and Jedi Trial is Anakin's, which is awesome. Good way to go out on, actually, because these are my final 2 Clone Wars books I never read. I read the Mace Windu, the Yoda, the Barisofi ones, but never the Public Commando ones. The god-awful Jedi Etain. And the guy, I can't remember his name, Bardicus something they called him, one who quit the Jedi Order but still fought in the war. Where was I? Yes, so with this book, Obi-Wan's off planet, Anakin gets given the mission, he basically gets told, take command, you're going to be properly in command now, do your research, be ready for it, etc. Anakin does all of those, and if you've ever seen the 3D Clone Wars series, Anakin is a very good battle commander. This book is showing that happening. It takes a bit of time. Anakin isn't exceptional overnight or anything. But the main thing that we get from this is the plot with Nija. God, I never pronounce it right. Halkian, I think it is. So anyone without too much Star Wars, anyone without much Star Wars knowledge or just wants a refresher from the EU, again, spoilers the whole EU thing. One of Luke's earliest students is a guy called Corran Horn, who later discovers through his grandfather he has got the Force. And you think, okay, that's cool. And of course, as we know, when the EU books were being written, it was clearly under the assumption that Jedi got married, had children, etc. All of that until 1999 Phantom Menace. It was just, George Lucas decided no, they didn't. So I always wonder how that's going to work, because Corran's grandfather didn't use the name Horn. That was after he married. After his father married and got a different name. And Corran's grandfather is Nija Haklon, who appears in this book. So I was thinking, great, but more importantly, how are they going to get around this? And it's just so damn obvious. It turns out he secretly had a wife and child, much like Anakin does in episode 2 at the end, and then in episode 3 revealed that Padme's pregnant. And it's like, of course, how could Anakin be the only Jedi who basically broke the rules because he found love? And it makes more sense. And I'm just glad we got that, because I was really wondering. I just figured, okay, so Corran's, his he's obviously a grandson of a Jedi who did that in secret, but we're just going to say that's just how it was in the old days and never bring up again. But then to get it in 2004 with the new rules in place is just so cool. It's like in Survivor Quest when Luke and Mara fight a couple of droidicas, and I just loved having grown up with the prequel trilogy, EU. Phantom Menace, I was 13, nearly 14 when it came out. Revenge of the Sith saw it day one at age 19. So prequel era has been a huge part of my life and my love of Star Wars. So I always loved, after I eventually got into the post-OT EU, seeing the references for anything written more recently. And I admit, I just love that. How does Nija Hagelin have a wife and child? Are we just going to ignore that? Nope. He just tells Anakin, I got married and had a child. I can't tell anyone, but I wouldn't, change anything about that. And Anakin then says, okay, I've done the same thing. And they bond over that, which is really cool to see. And I really liked it. It's just good when they, honour the EU. Again, the thing I hate about the whole Disney onwards, starting with a book I've just begun, actually, which was reworked for Disney canon. I hope it's not going to scrap too much that would have been in there. Who knows? But just seeing Corran Horn's grandfather is just superb, because I just thought we'd never see his father or his granddad in any way, and we did. So love that. So, a big part of the plot is Anakin, leading the clones in a hugely important mission. He's basically co-commander with Nija Haklon. He was a Jedi Master at that point. They split command, and it's brutal, lots of death, but in the end they win, and everyone's happy. So that's basically the plot, and I still sort of want to rebuy it. I mean, I was always going to sell this after, because when I bought it, I didn't expect it to be a hardback. It just doesn't fit on my shelf when only Darth Plagueis is my hardback. The others are all paperbacks. I decided, if I want to rebuy it in paperback version. It's a good book, but I don't know if I'm going to go back to it anytime. We'll see. It was better than Cestus Deception, I'll give it that, although they did have good moments with Obi-Wan, Kit Fisto, and Sarge Ventress. This same sort of thing. Sarge Ventress very briefly appears, just threatening the villain, who at one point Anakin wants to dismember. I'd say is the best description. He really gives into his rage. He opens himself up fully to the Force. Does miracles, but it never feels like it's pushing on the brink of the dark side. But it's the extreme use of it is felt. Anakin does plans to just kill this guy, their commander, who's just a typical smug guy. He's like, oh, you've beaten my army. Okay, I surrender. I'm a prisoner of war. I therefore must be given a cozy prison, cozy prisoner status. God, I hate you. And Anakin just wants to butcher the guy for that. A woman dies in his arms. It's it reminds him of his mother. And some good little scenes overall. Like a lot of books, the focus tends to be on other characters a lot. You see it with the book Dark Lord. New Disney canon, there's a book called Master of Evil, which apparently Darth Vader's barely in. Reminds me a bit of Dark Lord, but I didn't mind that because the other characters were just awesome, and it all came together quite nicely in the end. Plus, you still have plenty of great Darth Vader sequences, like him hating his new existence. And my ferret is scratching away at something. It's probably my bike. You heard that noise there. So that's it then. So overall, good book, dirt cheap. Like Bloodline, I found it for about £3 on eBay, which is a pretty sweet price for a very perfect condition hardback. Obviously, when I read it, I left the sleeve at home, so I wouldn't rip that But yeah, really good book, definitely recommended. It's my current comic I'm reading. I'm probably going to watch the film eventually, but it's not work recommended it, and it's pretty good. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Yeah, I'm on Heir to the Jedi at the moment. Next book is Bloodline, and finally Kenobi, because, like I said in other videos, all the stuff I missed, like nods to the larger EU in 2021 when I read it, I'm going to be aware of now. So I'm looking forward to reading that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you for the next one.